The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au. Welcome to the KRGS Doors podcast. I'm your host, Drew Blackman. The aim of our podcast is to talk to cool people with cool stories, whether it be our suppliers, customers, staff, other business owners, or people from different walks of life, and get to know them a bit better. If you're interested in coming on, drop us a line or email, or connect with us via Facebook, and we can have a chat to see what we can do. Today on episode 45 of the 2-year-old KRGS Doors podcast, I'm joined by KRGS Doors Managing Director Clayton Blackman, and we talk to Damien Brand, Director of Fine Concept Shop Fitting. Starting out as a small cabinet-making business in Adelaide's Holden Hill, with a passion for creating bespoke pieces and livening up spaces, they quickly evolved into a national operating business. Specialising in shop fit-outs, today Fine Concepts create and optimise spaces for any brand or business across a range of industries. I'll also let you in on our next episode's guest, but for now, please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Damien Brand.
If this doesn't turn you on, folks, you haven't got a switch!
Damien, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today. What is the Damien Brand story?
The Damien Brand story is I've been married before, got divorced. I have a lovely partner now in Jessie Lee, and we're expecting our first baby in about 4.5 months' time.
Oh, mate, congratulations. That's fantastic news. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
I can vouch for she's a lovely lady, Jessie Lee. Fantastic. That's great news, mate. Well done.
Yeah. We live in an apartment in the middle of the city. I have lived there for 8 years now. We've got a lovely little Hungarian Vizsla that keeps us out of trouble.
Treated like one of your children, by the way, too.
100%. Yeah.
Do you know his dog's got its own Instagram page?
Really?
Tell me, am I right?
Yeah, you're
there
right.
There you go.
Azali has her own Instagram page with about 1,000 followers.
An influencer, they may say.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what Jessie Lee tried to do to get some free gear, but hasn't quite come our way yet. We need to get a few more followers. Yeah, so we have a lovely holiday home on the Murray River, which our holiday home isn't so lovely at the moment. It's underwater.
Oh, shit, that's no good, mate.
That's what it is when you live in a floodplain on the river. So we love outdoor sports and water skiing and the like. So which is really good. We got mountain bikes. I go mountain biking quite a bit, and road bikes as well. That's I'm 45 years of age and working hard in the shop fitting industry.
Tremendous. For those that don't know, and you mentioned you live in the city, you're based in South Australia, so Adelaide is the hometown there?
Correct, yes. Adelaide.
City of churches?
Yes.
Yes, city of churches, yeah. And apparently city of sex shops as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have the most sex shops in Australia.
Per capita?
I don't visit them anywhere. I don't go to them, but I'm just...
Well, mate, hang on a minute. You are expecting, so hang on a minute. I'd like a quick show of hands on that one.
South Australian horny bastards,
yeah,
they
exactly
are.
Right. So he's a Roman sandal.
But, well, that's a good sign because you are in the shop fitting industry, so you might have to fit a couple of them out. And on the back of that, how did you start in the shop fitting industry?
I started back. Excuse me. I started back in 2004. My working life started out as a carpenter joinery business. With I was an apprentice, and then I moved into working in furniture industry with another company. And then in 2004, I thought to myself I could do it myself. So in February 2004, I resigned and had a couple of months off until July the 1st, and I started Fine Concepts in July the 1st, 2004. We started in the domestic industry mainly, where we're doing kitchens and, your vanities and so forth. After about 8 months, I said, no, this is way too hard. I was spending a lot of evenings at people's homes, trying to work out what colours they wanted and how they wanted to do it. It was just too difficult. So, and I was taking up a lot of time outside of hours, if you like, out of business hours. So I had an opportunity to do some display work for a couple of kitchen companies doing displays in, like your Harvey Normans and so forth. So I started to do that. And then I come across a company called Northern Plum Tech, which is a plumbing store. And we were doing displays for them. And the owner of the plumbing store said, I'm about to roll out 20 of these stores, and we'd like you to do all the internal fit out for us in the display work, in the joinery. So I did the first two. And from there, he said, Damien, what I want to do is I want to build a box with the builder, and then I want you to do everything else. And I said, what do you mean do everything else? He said, I want you to do the ceilings, the electrical, set up the warehouse, and, carpets and everything. And I said, okay, all right. I said to the guy who was the owner at the time, I said, John, I don't know how to do any of it. And he goes, you'll be right. I'll give you a bit of guidance. And I think he could see I was a bit cheaper back then. So he could cash in on that too, because he's a very astute businessman.
You were thrown in the deep end, mate, so to speak.
Yeah. Anyway, we did probably about 18 of his stores in South Australia and WA. And then through that, I had a florist, which was my first one in a shopping centre back in Engle Farm in South Australia. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I said, yes, we'll do it. I looked at the plans, and 4 weeks later, we had a florist.
Wow.
And then from that day on...
A crash course.
Yes, and from that day on, we've only done retail work throughout Australia.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
That's tremendous. So, Fine Concepts, the theory behind it, was it always to go into retail, or was it just, hey, we got to pivot and now become retail?
Correct. Yeah. So I never really knew when I started the business that shop fitting was a thing. I'd never been exposed to it. I was going to do domestic joinery or make furniture. That was my background. Commercial joinery or furniture, that's what I did for 9 years before that. I never ever knew about retail until I started to venture into the display industry, and then into when someone comes to me and asks me for a florist. To this point today, a lot of people are the same when they say, oh, there's a shop fitting industry. And I said, well, you walk through the shopping centres all the time. How do you think they get built? But a lot of people today don't realise that it's an industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is quite amazing, though, and us indoors have a little bit of an insight into shop fitting industry, but you do walk through a shopping centre and there's a hoarding up 1 week, and then or a month later there's this brand new spanking shop, top to toe, and it's quite interesting when you go in there to measure a door, and it's just concrete walls, concrete floor. You can see all the air conditioning ducts, and then a month later there's this magnificent store opened up.
Yeah, that's right.
What's Brian Sidgreav's famous words? We tidy up the ugly concrete.
Yeah.
That's a nice, simple concept.
Well, you think it's pretty easy, isn't it?
Fine Concepts now, mate. Now, a few years later, how many employees are you employing there in South Australia?
We have 30 now, from our office staff with project managers, project coordinators, estimators, through to workshop managers and workshop staff, and then site supervisors and site guys. So our guys will travel with us. They're not guys. We don't use contractors when we go into state, so they all travel with us. We've got a range, and they're not just in the workshop. They do go out onto site. So we don't have one. We try and get a multi-skilled so they can actually work in the workshop as well as out on site. And over the years, we've always, as we know in shop fitting, no matter pretty much whatever you're doing, you've got power there, and the electricians are there majority of the time. Back in what are we now? Probably 2015, sorry. I had our electrician that was working for us full time as a subcontractor, and he wasn't doing anyone else's work. He said, Damien, why don't I just come and work for you? So that's what we did. And now we have another business called Adelaide Fine Electrical under our umbrella as well. So
it's grown, mate, from that first florist. It's grown into a massive beast now.
Oh, it's a beast. It's a beast, but I love to control the beast, and it is a good industry to be involved with, and it challenging at times, as we all know in business.
Absolutely.
But it's good to have challenges in life.
Challenging, hard work, and but rewarding.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
just on the back of that, and this is probably a two-part question, what's the biggest challenges you see in the shop fitting industry, and then what's the biggest challenges as a business owner?
Biggest challenges in the shop fitting industry. For us, it is. How do we put it? It is, I suppose, time, but it's the preparation time that we, with our clientele, we don't tend to get. It's time. We don't get a lot of preparation time. We've got a job, bang, in you go, and you're there tomorrow, so to speak. I know some other shop fitters have a lot more lead-in time, whereas we don't. Our clients are behind the eight ball when they give us the job. And that is the biggest challenge, because it's time, but it's managing the client, it's managing the procurement, and it's managing your staff for that time, because staff get upset. Your team gets upset because you got to hurry, and then you've got to get your procurement right and make sure you've got it on time, and then you've got to manage your client to say, hang on a minute, you've given it to us late. We are working extremely hard, but if we're a bit behind here, we'll catch it up over here. But it's managing them to understand that, because not all of them do. I mean, a lot of our clients are one-off clients. They're not, we do franchise work where that's multiple, and they're different, but a lot of our clients are what I call mum and dad shop owners.
Yourself and with a lot of these clients, Damien, and you're probably saying, like, you quote them 4 weeks turnaround to fit a shop out, but they actually want it in 3 because their main focus is just opening up the doors as soon as they can.
Correct, because it's money.
And then they talk about with the staff, it's just because everyone's under pressure to try and pump out this shop in such a short period of time. People can only handle the pressure for so long before they burn out and over explode or overkill there. It's just trying to pump out something so bloody quick, puts them under pressure, and they just get frazzled.
100%.
And as a business owner, is that one of them as well with staff?
It is at the moment. Well, it's come into that. I mean, when we started the business, staff is always around. They come and go. I mean, we've got really good retention with staff, which is excellent. The time we've been going for nearly 20 years, I think all up we've only employed 55 people.
Wow,
geez, that's pretty good.
So our staff turnover isn't a lot, but what we are, I think some of the challenges we'll definitely have going forward is it's not how good the company is or bad the company is. It's going to be because the young people of today, they don't want to be in business. They don't want to be working for one place for too long. But with our industry, what we have is we have a niche industry. So we need to train them. You can come as a cabinet maker, you can come as a joiner, a carpenter, but to understand timeframes, understand our working hours, understand everything about our business. By the time you do that, they're thinking, oh, well, we know it now, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
So you don't really get any investment back.
No.
You invest a lot into them, you don't get it back, because by the time that's gone through, we've gone through for a year or two, and then all of a sudden they'll be moving on.
Yeah.
And we're finding it with some of our young ones already, that because we have 5 or 6 apprentices, I think it's 6 now, apprentices on our books, we're finding that a couple of the good ones are already talking to us about where they'd like to go, which is great, really good. And we have positions in the business for them. But in the back of your mind, it's like, well, hang on, you haven't even mastered being on the tools yet.
Yeah.
And you're already thinking about the next step and where you're going to be. Fantastic. But, you can see them going, they're already looking halfway through their apprenticeship. They're already looking for something else to do because they're bored. Instead of, yes, we are looking at going here, but as the time progresses, when they get to the 3rd and 4th year, they start to really say, what have you got for us here? Or, and what can we do within the industry? They're already thinking, oh, yeah, I can go work for this builder over here as a project manager. I can go work over there, or I can go and do this. That's what we're finding with the young ones. Whereas I'll say the 30s to the retirement age, they're completely different. They're a completely different breed.
I agree, mate. And I think the younger ones now are coming out of school and they want to go straight on to the $150,000 job and drive a Maserati and can't believe why they're going straight into work and can't have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with you with the older ones. They've got a few more responsibilities with children and families and mortgages and all that sort of stuff. So they're a little bit more settled. But these young ones, yeah, they want it all right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. So that is probably the biggest challenge as a business owner. Yes, we know there's a shortage of workers. That'll change. That'll come around again. But I think a bigger challenge is with staff, because it's very hard to get good staff. And when you do get them, you want to keep them.
Yeah, agree, mate.
And if you get young ones, you want to train them. But what's our training? It's 4 years for an apprenticeship now. Even in the office, you can give them a 2-year traineeship to learn office work and things like that. So it's not just apprenticeships from the floor, it's apprenticeships in the office. But they're not around that long. They just, you train them up and then, well, hang on, where's it going to get back to me now? You trained and you know what you're doing. They're gone. They move on to someone else. And you can't always get that person that's trained from another company to come to you.
Start again.
There isn't that. In South Australia, there's not that many shop fitters that you hear either.
No, correct, mate. What's the saying? Your most important customers are the ones you got on the payroll?
Yeah.
And you're spot on too, that you've invested all your time and effort and money and knowledge into them, and then at either the end of their apprenticeship, they've got what they want and they move on, or even halfway through, they're moving on.
You can't lock them down.
Yeah, you need to, as you said, get something back from them at the end of it.
Yeah.
Mate, what are the biggest changes you've seen in the shop fitting industry?
One of the biggest changes is the way that design has been delivered to us as shop fitters. It used to be really heavily focused on design.
Yeah.
And we get a lovely not glossy, I suppose, but we get a lovely set of plans, and it was all about the design and all about how it was going to look at the end of the day. Now it's a bit, you get 4 pages. It's up to us to nearly design and construct within that short time frame and produce something lovely that everyone loves. That's the big change I've seen in shop fitting from when we've started. I mean, you have all your time frames, and you've got biggest changes, some of the changes with materials and stuff like that. But I've noticed in there that the way we have to build it from the plans that we used to get to the plans we get today. You guys probably would have seen that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You get some great sets of drawings and you get some absolute shit sets of drawings. Make it up on the run.
Do you find that, though, that could be a little bit easier as well, because you get these basic plans and you straight away, okay, well, I know that's going to work. I can put something in here, or that doesn't work. I can modify it on the run as such, rather than having to stick solid to the plans?
As a company, Fine Concept's been based, we like to stick to a set of plans.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for us to follow through. So it's a lot easier with the structures that we have to be able to go, here's a set of plans. At the end, this is what we want, and you can see what the plans have. Otherwise, we've got people out there that might go, whilst they're good, they go, my impression of this is this way.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you have a client going, my impression was completely opposite. And then we've got at the end trying to fight up and go, what is this? And we have had that over the years when with the fit outs we do.
You got a client they've got a client that was thinking something else and then doesn't want to pay for it.
Correct. So that's why we love the plans, and it's very difficult today to be able to some of the plans you get. We've got to nearly design them before we build it, so that the client knows what they're getting and really look at any detail. I mean, majority, like the franchise groups, are pretty good with their with their plans. Again, it's the mum and dads that go to a little designer around the corner.
Yeah.
And even some of the big designers, that's where the changes I've seen. The big designers that we had here in South Australia have changed their way. I think it's to make more money. They're going to give the bare minimum. They're going to give a lovely, like I say, glossy finish to it. It's 4 or 5 really lovely pages with pictures. That's what we want. The centre goes, yep, that is perfect. We'll sign off on that. But the smaller detail, how exactly is this going to be?
The poor bugger that's building it. The poor bugger that's building it's got to put it all together yet.
Yeah, correct. And, you know, the skyhooks, once I find out the skyhooks, we'll be laughing.
Yeah, exactly. When you get some of them, send them some over my way, will you?
Yeah.
It's so easy, isn't it? It's, it's
hang it
like
up
Lego.
there.
It's like Lego.
So, how do you think this door's going to work? Oh, I don't know. I just drew it.
You mentioned a lot of your clientele is mum and dad's shop owners. How do you advertise to them? Is it through word of mouth, or is it they see the shop next door and want to come to you?
A lot of it is word of mouth. We used to advertise in, you know, back when I was in the old Yellow Pages. That's how long ago.
Wow. Let your fingers do the walking.
In the Yellow Pages, we used to advertise when we first started the business. And then as we changed from domestic, we still had in-shop fitting, but obviously we don't even worry about that.
Is the Yellow Pages still around?
Maybe online.
Probably online. I haven't seen a set of Yellow Pages.
And in the cop shops for a little bit of touching up.
Exactly right.
You know, the funny thing is Jessie Lee, we had to go out for dinner one day, and I said, "Oh, can you see where the address is for this restaurant?" So she goes on Instagram and finds out where the address is.
That's a different generation, mate.
Very interesting how people do things these days compared to what they did a while ago. Like in our day, we'd go into the street directory.
I was just going to say the exact same thing, Damien. I obviously started out and I was a sales rep, and you'd have the street directory on one seat, and you'd be driving and trying to look at the street directory and drive along at the same time and on the mobile phone. And, mate, these days, Christ, it's so much easier. Pump the address in, boom, it tells me where to go, what's the quickest way, and
avoid traffic and
avoid this. It made it so much easier. But, mate, they were the days with the old street directory.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, in the glove box of your car.
That's right.
The old Cortina. That's right.
Speaking of cars, this man is a car enthusiast.
Yes, I see one in the background there behind him.
He's a car enthusiast. He's got a similar car to me, but it's a little bit more upmarket than my Mustang. But he's got I've only seen pictures. I haven't seen it in the flesh, but I can't wait to see it in the flesh. But it is his pride and joy, isn't it, mate?
It is. It's under a couple of covers in the apartment, up on level 1.
You better tell us what it is.
It's a R-Spec Mustang.
It's very nice, mate.
It's a number 462, so there's only 500 of them made.
500 worldwide?
Yeah.
Wow.
Green in colour?
Yeah.
It's very, very, very
slick. 500 worldwide. How many's in Australia?
The 500 are in Australia.
Oh, okay. But yeah, right. Right, okay.
He's a bit of a car enthusiast like myself.
So that's obviously not your daily driver.
No. It's only done 1,200 Ks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how's that go on the shopping centres with the ladder on top?
I think Jessie Lee's not even allowed to drive it. There you go.
No, she's not.
There you go.
That'll look a treat with a baby seat in the back.
I can't wait for that.
I'm sorry.
No, that won't be happening.
Shan't be happening.
Hey, away from work, how do you relax if you get time to?
Like I said, we go up the river. We go down the beach with the dog. You know, that's because we're in the city. It's amazing how in the city of Adelaide, how people go, oh, but it's all buildings and everything. And I said to him, because we live in an apartment with a Hungarian Vizsla that needs quite a bit of running every day. She comes to work with us. She might be in the. Yeah,
I could hear in the background there before, mate, barking away.
Yeah, she's she's laying on a bed in my office here at the moment.
Good guard dog when you go into their office.
Yeah.
Yeah, she meets and greets you first up. Meets and greets you first up.
Can you see it?
Oh, there she is. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. That'll work well on the podcast. A bit of visual.
We might put a photo up.
Exactly.
I'll put her Instagram page up though.
Yeah. So I say to people, look, I walk across 4 lanes of traffic, which is Greenhill Road, major road in Adelaide, sort of around the city. And I've got, I don't know, 10 footy fields to run around on, if not more. I don't have to mow the lawns. I don't water it. I don't do any of the gardening or anything. I just got beautiful gardens and wetlands right across the road, and it is fantastic. So, after work, a lot of times, even if we get home 7, 8 o'clock, not so much in winter, but even spring and autumn and summer, we'll walk the dog for an hour, come back, have dinner, and go to bed. So
It's a beautiful, beautiful city there too, mate, that you live in.
yeah, no, it is good. And it's a 30-minute city. It's easy to get around, unlike your city.
You're spot on there. It is easy to get around.
So, and I used to sail catamarans. So I do like the beach. I hate the sand, but I do like the beach. It's funny. I love going down the beach, but I don't like the sand because it gets in everything. We just chill out. We go to I love to go to a pub. They just sit down there and listen to acoustic music. So there's a couple around us that's quite nice to just relax in with a few mates and have a beer or a local SA gin and just chill out. Ride our bikes. I don't need to do anything that's too strenuous or anything because work is so
Full on.
so as we know.
I must add, Damien's got a similar position to myself. So we're both involved as members and as with the Interior Fit Out Association, as KRGS Doors are a sponsor. Damien in South Australia is like myself, he's the president of South Australia, and obviously I'm involved, president of New South Wales. So we do get to catch up and mix there, but Damien's heavily involved with the South Australian branch there and drives that machine over there.
And has been for a long time too.
Yes, has been a part of it.
Yeah, I think we're a member for over 10 years. And I've been in the president's position. I took over for a long-standing president, Josh Kelly. He was there for 11 years, and I think I've been there for 6 years.
So you got another 5 years, mate, to go in that seat to catch up to him.
Well, yeah, 5 years to catch up. I think it was 11 years for Josh, 11 or 12 years, I think.
He's now, Josh Kelly is now our national president.
He's now our national president.
Josh
right.
Kelly from Winkle. He's a good man as well.
One of the greats.
Yeah, he is one of the greats.
Now, to finish off the podcast, mate, we ask our fast 5 questions. It's just rapid fire to get to know you a little bit better.
Yep.
What would be your last meal?
Wow. I'm Dutch, so I would say a brown sugar sandwich. And people go, what? But I love brown sugar sandwiches.
So is that with just white bread, butter, brown sugar?
Correct.
Geez, your dentist would love that, mate.
My dentist loves me. Oh, my teeth are great.
The brown sugar, we have never had that. That's a newbie. Brown sugar.
I got brought up. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and they're Dutch, and our lunches used to be from savoury through to sweet, and brown sugar was always put in the middle of the table when I was.
How did you go? How'd you go swapping those sort of sandwiches at school in the schoolyard, mate? Someone who wants to take on a brown sugar sandwich?
No, I never had them for school. Mum never gave them to me. I had to sneak them.
Brown sugar. Wow, that'll go in the records.
But I guess as Australian background, we used to have fairy bread, which was 100,000. So it's probably equivalent
probably right.
of brown sugar sandwiches.
Yeah.
I just had to clarify that it was that simple, that it was white bread, butter, and brown sugar.
Would you like Vegemite, peanut butter, honey, or a bit of brown sugar? There you
brown
go.
Sugar. I mean, I suppose honey and brown sugar probably
pretty close too, mate. You're right.
Yeah. But brown sugar, it was and not just a little bit. We'll pile it on. Don't worry.
Tremendous. We might have to try that.
No.
Your drink of choice.
I would say SA local gin.
And you just is it just straight on the rocks?
Gin and tonic.
Okay.
With there's one here. We've got a Coffin Bay coastal gin, and you get a coastal succulent, and snap it off, squeeze it, put it in there. Beautiful.
I've been lucky enough to be in a few bars with Damien, and mate, it doesn't matter what the drink is. He's happy to take it.
It's a bit harsh.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to drink. Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
But this was his drink of choice. So
That was
if
his
you had to
drink of choice,
choose, it
yeah.
was a South Australian
yeah,
gin.
yeah. It goes to probably a dozen before then, but yes, eventually we end up with that one.
Is the gin a big distillery down there, or is it a big market? I know the wineries, obviously in Adelaide, are well known, but is the gin?
Gin is huge now in South Australia. Massive.
There you go.
It's becoming popular with all wineries. Leanne and I were at a winery on the weekend down near our joint, and yeah, we had wines, but they got on sale is the gin there too, from a local. They don't manufacture it. This winery didn't manufacture it, but from a local supplier. So yeah, it's popular.
I reckon gin would outdo anything like any other spirits at the moment. Gin would be the one in Adelaide.
Very
There's
popular.
so many gin distilleries here. It's huge.
There you go. Learn something.
On
the
the
podcast.
Brown sugar and gin. There
Yes.
you go.
We got a bit of a habit forming here. I'm just reading the next question. If you could share a drink with any world leader, if you could share a South Australian gin with any world leader, who would it be and why?
That's an interesting one. I don't really follow a lot of world leaders, but someone that you sort of follow a little bit in your hometown or home country, I suppose, would be John Howard.
Yes.
He's an interesting person, but I like to listen to business people and not follow them, but just I'm a couple of things I'm doing at the moment. I'm around some politicians and business leaders in South Australia, and it's very interesting just to listen to their stories. So I'd love to sit with John Howard and have a gin with him and listen to what his journey in politics was, because he had a few key things that he had the Olympics there when he was the leader, the prime minister, and also with the GST coming in.
Yeah,
and just
correct.
around massive changes
Yeah.
with the big events going on.
He had a few, mate, didn't he? He had the gun laws. He had
Yeah.
obviously
Even,
the asylum seekers.
Yeah, even that type of
Like
stuff.
he had plenty on his plate in the time. He was mate. Yeah, probably one of the greats.
Yeah, so it's not to say what he achieved or didn't achieve. It's just how you go about some of those challenges, and there were huge challenges
Correct.
and big events at the same time. How you get a country to keep moving forward when those things are happening.
Loved his cricket too. You probably wouldn't ask him for any cricket skills
Tips.
from John Howard.
Yes. What is the first app you look at on your phone when you wake up in the morning?
90% of the time, be realestate.com.
There you go.
You're looking to buy, looking to sell, mate.
We're always looking to buy.
Yeah.
Always looking to buy. So, yeah, realestate.com is sort of, in the mornings I finish off the day. I just finish off with anything. I don't watch a lot of TV, but sometimes you just turn on the TV or just to watch what's happening, just to relax and just tune out, really.
Yeah.
It's the same within the morning. I just get up and go, well, okay, yeah, something that interests me is realestate.com. So I'll get on it and see if there's anything that's been put on from the evening before or the day before that I haven't seen, and then start the day with that. And it's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing as well, real estate.
Yeah.
So I look at that and, oh, yeah, that's a good place, and I might investigate that place during the day. And it's not just, domestic, it's commercial as well we look at.
Sure. What's your first app you look at, Drew, in the morning?
It's probably the weather app,
Weather app.
just to see what
Whether
the
you're
weather's.
wearing shorts or longs.
Or no, just to see what the weather's like. Yeah.
The first one I
Is-
check is my emails.
Yeah, I try and limit that because you're waking up at 5:15 and you're straight into work mode. You need a little bit of
I'm in work mode as I'm
Headspace-
bloody having my
headspace
eyes open.
to try and get through it. So
I don't tend to worry about the weather. I'll come out some days with a T-shirt on and shorts on, and everyone's like, what are you doing? Because in our apartment, it's different. I'm never worried about what the weather is. I sort of, if it's sunny, okay, yeah, it might be, I could wear a shirt and not have to wear a jumper. And if it's overcast, well, then I might just take a jumper with me if I feel warm at the time. I've never, ever looked at the weather app at all
there you go.
or worried about what the weather is. Different.
What about if you got to take that Mustang out? Do you check if it's raining or not?
Oh, yeah.
That's a different for training. It stays in.
Yeah, not taking the cover off that.
Yeah, I've said to myself that Mustang will never, ever
Get wet.
go in the rain.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't blame you, mate. And finally, if heaven does exist, what would God say when you arrive at the Pearly KRGS roller shutter?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know. What would he say? We got plenty of work up here for you.
Get on the tools.
Yeah.
I've got these 4 pages of plans. What can you do with this?
What can you mock up out of this?
Yeah. I reckon that's probably what he'd say because I tend to be working in most of my life.
Damien, mate, thanks for coming on the podcast. It's been great to have a chat and tell us about your story and obviously Fine Concepts. Congratulations again, mate, to you and Jessie Lee on the birth in 4 months' time?
4.5 months. She's
4.5 months. And mate, if you call him Clayton, I won't be offended, righto? So, mate, good luck with that next stage of your life, and you're a great couple, and mate, yeah, congratulations, mate. It's taken a while for us to get you in the hot seat here to get you in this podcast, but we've finally done it, mate. And I appreciate you coming on and having a chat, and it's been great. Keep up the good work and the hard work with both Fine Concepts and Adelaide Electrical.
Yeah.
But mate, appreciate you coming on and telling us the story to the KRGS Doors podcast.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mate, again, appreciate your time, and you should be extremely proud of what you've achieved there with Fine Concepts and Adelaide Fine Electrical as well.
No, thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you, KRGS.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure.
Cheers.
Say hello to Jessie Lee for us, and all the best. All the best to the Fine Concepts team.
Thank you.
That brings down the door on the 45th episode and our chat with Damien Brand, director from Fine Concepts. For more information about Fine Concepts, or if you wish to chat to their team to see what they can do for you, visit www.fineconcepts.com.au or call 08 8244 7792. If you have missed any previous episodes of the KRGS Doors podcast, you can download them from our website, www.krgsdoors.com.au/podcasts, or on your favourite podcast player, search KRGS Doors. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any future episodes. This also boosts our ranking and my ego. The other thing I suggest, if you have enjoyed the podcast, visit your favourite podcast player and leave a review or a rating. On our next episode, we speak to one of KRGS Doors' staff member, and owner, Phil Blackman. Phil has been in the roller shutter industry since 1989. He manages the operations here at KRGS Doors, and he has one amazing son. 2 in total. Yes, listeners, as well as being an owner at KRGS Doors, he is also mine and Clayton's dad. We talk about life growing up, being the longest-serving employee for Keith Lord's Furniture and Electrical, to now being a business owner. Keep your ears peeled for this chat. It is not one to be missed. I've been your host, Drew Blackman, and you've been fantastic for tuning in today. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Thanks. Till next time. The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au.